Getting paid over $23 per hour just to hand out flyers might sound too simple to be true, but it's actually something people are doing right now through a platform called Oppizi. I decided to dig into it and find out exactly what it offers and help you find out if this is the right opportunity for you or not. In case you don't know, my name is Michael and I have tested hundreds of different side hustles, and when I come across something interesting and something that might be relevant and a great way to earn some extra money, I share it here on my YouTube channel. I also sometimes share it even earlier in my Telegram channel. If you want to join that for free also to get some exclusive daily updates, I'll also leave a link to that below. But in this video here, I'll walk you through exactly how the Oppizi Brand Ambassador job works, what kind of tasks you'll be doing, where you will be working, and how much you can realistically earn. So whether you're looking for a flexible side hustle or just want to make some extra cash in your spare time, this might be a method worth considering. But as always, there are a few important details you need to know, so let's get into it. So let's start by going over the basics of what Oppizi is and what a brand ambassador is and who can actually join. And Oppizi is a company that helps other companies with offline marketing actually. And for example, that does include, as you can see, handing out flyers, and you can then become a brand ambassador as they call it. And that means that you can hand out flyers, for example, and promote the companies they work with and get paid to do that. And this is of course perfect if you're, for example, a student or just someone that's looking for a side hustle, some part-time work, and it is available in a lot of countries. I heard before people say this is only in the US, because if you just go to the main website and go to brand ambassadors, it just explains about 71 cities in the US. But when you actually then go to see the overview of the countries, you can see that it is available in all of these countries, and you can choose the platform for each of these countries. And there, if we just try to choose one of them, you can then scroll down to the footer, and here they have this option for the brand ambassadors in the different countries. So for all of these countries, I'll just go back here, it is actually possible to become a brand ambassador and earn some extra money just by handing out these flyers. But let's talk more about how it then works, and of course also how much you can earn. So first of all, if you want to become a brand ambassador, it's a great idea to download the app because you need that to accept and find the missions. They call it missions when you get these jobs. But you can also go to the website and sign up here, but eventually you would actually need the app. And then you have to go through the onboarding. You can see it describes it itself. You need to download the app, and then they will have this video onboarding. And the whole onboarding includes both this video where you have to watch some training material, and also you have to submit documents like your ID. So if you don't feel comfortable about that, this is not a job for you. Let me just make that clear right away. But once you've done all that and they have verified everything, including your ID, as they say here, then they will get back to you, and if everything is in order, they can see that you're not trying to cheat or fake or anything like that, then you can actually use the app to book your missions. You will find out where you need to collect these materials, the flyers you need to hand out, and then you just go out and you get paid. But let's now then talk about what are these typical tasks you can then get paid to do before we dive deeper into what you can earn. So the typical task here is flyer distribution. So you basically just need to hand out flyers, usually in designated high traffic areas. And you also need to then interact with the people that you hand out these flyers to promote these different brands that you're promoting. So the thing is that you will actually earn more in most cases if people end up using the flyer for something. For example, if there's a special offer on that flyer, if they actually end up using that offer, you will earn more. But we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the full earning potential. And then to complete the mission, you need to just make sure to hand out the flyers and distribute them just as the mission will explain. There will be specific requirements, and you'll be able to see that when you browse these available missions inside the app. And of course, you should just make sure to just browse it in your local area, because if you have to travel too far for it, it doesn't really make sense. And then you can just choose the missions that fit your schedule, and you will then be in control of when and where you work. So that's one something I really like about it. You just need to be aware that you do need to also check in and out. You use the app for that. So when you then come and you start, you check in. When you leave and you complete the mission, you then check out. And the app will actually also be used to track you, or the GPS will be then used to track your location during the missions. So just be aware of that. Again, if you don't feel comfortable about that, this is not a job for you. But let's now then dive into how much you can earn. So how much you can earn can of course vary from country to country. And as I showed, there are quite a few countries where you can become a brand ambassador. But if we, for example, look at the US, you can see the base rate here is $23 per hour just for handing out flyers. That is actually quite nice. In San Francisco, it's for some reason actually $30. And then you will also be paid travel allowance to compensate for the parking if you need to. And then here, this is what I mentioned earlier, you can actually earn quite a bit more because you will also receive a commission for every person that redeems your flyer. Usually this is $1 per redeem, but it could go up to $5. So this is why it's important to just not stand like a zombie and handing out flyers, but to actually be able to communicate with people, tell them about the offer. If you're great at that, there's a higher chance they will actually redeem this flyer, and then you can potentially earn quite a lot more for your time. And usually you see a mission is 3 hours, and you need to make sure that you stay the full time allocated for each mission. So that will also say just the base rate there. If you say 3 hours, $23. So that will be $69 just as the base rate. And then if people redeem, you can potentially earn a really nice extra bonus also. And usually you will then get paid via direct bank transfer. Again, there might be some variations depending on the country you live in. And the payments are also usually processed weekly, and typically it will be 10 days after you complete a mission. But just be aware that there are of course not any guarantee that you will always be able to find missions in your area. So how good the opportunities are of course depends where you live. But that's not the only thing to consider. Let's also just go over the overall pros and cons to help you figure out if this is for you or not. And then I will also at the end talk about some alternatives if you think this is not for you, or some alternatives you can maybe do in addition to this if you can't always find work here. So let's start by just summing up the pros of becoming a brand ambassador. First of all, you get the flexible hours. That's always amazing when it comes to side hustles, in my opinion. Secondly, no special skills are needed. And third, it can be a great way to earn if you like being outdoors. But it also does have some cons, and one of them is that it can be tiring and repetitive to just stand and hand out flyers. And of course, sometimes the weather might not be the best, but if you have accepted a mission, you still have to go there and hand out the flyers. And also, as mentioned earlier, shifts might be limited or inconsistent, so it can be hard to count on it as consistent income. And all these pros and cons is something you need to then consider to find out if it is right for you or not. But if you don't think it's for you, or if you just want some additional options in case there's not always brand ambassador jobs for you, then I, for example, have a list on my website of great gig economy jobs. So all kind of small tasks you can also do in your local area, some of them even online, where you can earn some great money and where you can basically always find some tasks also. So I'll leave a link to that below. But if what you're looking for is to, for example, build up full-time income where you can work completely on your own terms, where you don't have to be dependent on getting hired by others, then I also do have some information about the exact steps that I have taken to build an online business. I'll also leave a link below so you can find more information about that. And in general, if you just like reading instead of just watching a video, I also do have a written review of Oppizi on my website, so I'll also leave a link to that below so you can check that out. I would also love to hear from you in the comments below. Is this the kind of side hustle that you would like to do? Do you think it sounds interesting? Do you think the pay is fair? If you already have done it, I would love to hear about your experiences, so please share that in the comments below. And finally, if the video helped you, make sure to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss out next time I release a video with tips and tricks about different ways to make money online.